Steven Crowder, my arch nemesis, my smooth-brained rival. Last time with Steven Crowder, I thought I hit him with the facts and logic beam, but he opened up his cranial cap and his perfectly smooth reflective brain bounced it back at me, okay? I didn't know what to do. I was helpless. But this time I'm ready.
Jack Dorsey? Mark Zuckerberg? Susan Wojcicki? You tell me. What exactly is white supremacy? Who exactly is a white supremacist and who should be banned?
I'm so ready. Oh, I'm so fucking ready. I'm ready for Steven Crowder to play fucking defense for literal Nazis. Let's do it.
Today, question, it's a simple one. What is white supremacy?
Let's begin. Now, I'm going to preface, because I just finished a debate with a semantic asshole, so something tells me I'm about to see the same, okay? When it comes to terms like white supremacy, or racism, or, hey, any socially constructed term, like black. Why is Obama black, even though he's half white, half black? Shouldn't he be mixed race? But everyone calls him black, he calls himself black. When you're dealing with terms that have a broad social connotation, that they're rooted largely in social structure, and not so much in empirical reality, it can be very difficult to pinpoint a strong boundary as to what fits that definition or not. Am I racist? I don't know. It depends on your interpretation of racism. What if racism is thinking black people are worse than white people? Well, no, then I'm not racist. What if racism is holding any values whatsoever which contribute to white hegemony? Well, fuck, probably. Maybe, yeah. The point that I'm getting at here is that with terms like this, it can be really difficult to parse out an exact boundary, but very often, the people who try to use the ambiguity of the definition to toss the phrase out altogether are the people who fit that definition perfectly. The people who argue that white nationalist or white supremacist are so ambiguous a term that they're inapplicable and should never be used are almost always, without fail, themselves white nationalists or white supremacists, because they are dishonest and it is in their best interest to delegitimize the validity of the term. With that being said, let's watch Steven Crowder try to delegitimize the validity of the term.
It's talked about a lot, but I don't hear it clearly defined a whole lot. So you tell me, what constitutes a white supremacist?
Wait, is this like Dora the Explorer? What do you think is a way? And then he'll say, great job, Vosh.
And where do you draw the line at bannable offenses on social media? I really want to know.
Well, wait, that should be up to the corporations, right? The corporations have TOS that they should be allowed to. Listen, I'm a fucking anarchist, and even I believe that as long as you are within a capitalist system, a corporation should be able to determine its own TOS. I think that's totally fucking reasonable.
First off, let me start this by saying, of course, I was horrified and am horrified and condemn.
All right. Of course, I condemn the neo-Nazi shooting, but let me play defense for all of the people who radicalize those shooters and all of the people who support the institutions which produce them.
Any and all mass shootings, Christchurch, the synagogues, mosques, awful. And anyone who supports that ideology,
he looks
very
so
consistent.
sincere.
I want to make sure that there is no misconstruing what I'm about to say.
This is the definition of stochastic terrorism. The idea that you push the idea that Western culture is under attack, that our institutions are failing, that Muslim hordes are coming into this country. Oh yeah, I mean, our whole way of life is going to be destroyed, and soon we're going to be living in a Sharia law America. But no, don't do violence, you shouldn't do violence. And then, inevitably, violence happens because you've radicalized people into believing that holy shit, we're in a literal fucking war for our existence. They go out there and they shoot up a mosque or a synagogue, and then the same people who radicalize them get to step back and play defense and go oh, we never called for violence. We disavow. We have nothing to do with this. As you can see, we don't call for violence. This person did violence. There's no relationship between our views and theirs. Yeah, calling immigration an invasion is a call for violence.
That being said, before we move on to the current loosey-goosey definitions of white supremacy, before the bodies are even cold, they've been politicized.
Before the bodies are even cold, they've been politicized on a politically motivated shooting. Ah, big brain Crowder. Wow. Caught him with that one again. The classic conservative argument. Oh, a guy who in his manifesto said he was radicalized by political figures who shot up a religious institution for political reasons. Ah, politicizing this shoot. Oh, bad move, liberals. Ooh, real bad. Well, the bodies are still warm, too. Ooh, thoughts and prayers. Fuck off.
Politicizing this, blaming it on President Donald Trump.
On Saturday in the morning, this assault on the Senate.
Is it that difficult to sync audio with video in your stupid fucking fake projector screen setup?
Synagogue. And then, Saturday afternoon, our hearts are with the victims. Take responsibility for your actions, Mr. President. You are the culprit.
I mean, yeah. There have been tons of studies to show that President Trump's inauguration coincided with a rise in white nationalist violence in this country. To suggest that there isn't an association between these two things is to ignore reality. Now, whether or not you think Trump is personally responsible for this, well, I guess you'd have to go into the kinds of things that President Trump likes to say, talking about how Mexico is sending murderers and rapists here, or about how we need to ban all Muslims because they're not compatible with the fabric of American life, or about how when we let Ilhan Omar, a Muslim representative, be voted into office, we forgot 9/11. Sounds like the exact same race war rhetoric that open white nationalists push for. Wow. Big brain.
Okay.
Really?
Never mind that the shooter, and we can't show it from his manifesto, viciously anti-Trump because he saw him as a pro-Jew race traitor.
Yeah. Hey, if the only difference between you and Trump is that you think that Trump kowtows too much to Jews, you might be in like, if you're like, listen, this is not a good statement for Trump. A Nazi steps out into the crowd. I support President Trump, or at least I would if he weren't such a Jew lover. That's not a good look for President Donald Trump. That actually, believe it or not, Crowder, that doesn't make him look that good.
Never mind that the Christchurch shooter hated conservatives, and did not, as far as I remember, did not like Donald Trump.
Yeah, because he thinks you guys didn't go far enough. Not because he disagreed with your principles, the idea that Western civilization is under attack from immigrants, from Muslims. He didn't disagree with you on those things. He just believed you needed to go farther.
This is a part of a disturbing trend, okay? In vilifying people, particularly right now, people are talking a lot about white supremacy without actually defining who the villain is. See?
By the way, these are the same people who will unironically say that SJWs and feminists and Black Lives Matter are black supremacists and woman supremacists who want to make women and black people and SJWs and mobile gamers better than white people or Christians or console gamers or whatever. Like, these are the same people that will accuse every single social movement of engaging in a form of supremacy, but now the moment it's white supremacy, a widely documented sociological phenomena with consensus in sociology and political science, now we have to get really handsy with the definitions here. How specific are we being exactly with the enemy here?
Without actually defining who the villain is. See if you understand what I'm talking about.
White supremacy doesn't have a villain. It's a social structure. It's an institution. There's no, like, leader of white supremacy.
You know, Trump is a liar, but in some ways he's quite sincere in that he has a hard time saying things that he doesn't mean in the moment. He doesn't feel any abhorrence for white nationalism, and so he's not capable of expressing it.
Apply motive.
I don't think if you look back to the beginning of his campaign, he has never separated himself from white supremacists.
I can't even be.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't. Find people on both sides. Listen, all President Trump had to do during Charlottesville was say, hey, fuck Nazis. Would have been really easy. Would have lasted him the whole presidency, too. Anytime anyone was like, hey, Trump's kind of like a fucking Nazi, you could have been like, oh, well, he said fuck Nazis one time. Would have been great optics, but he couldn't do it. There had to be fine people on both sides. Really weird.
I believe that you're
Except for
asking
when
the
he
question if, President Donald J. Racist is a person who's a bigot and is in the White House. Of course.
Wait, what was said?
I can't even believe that you're
Except for
asking
when
the
he
question if, President Donald J. Racist is a person who's a bigot.
Burn.
Wait, that was a burn? Wait, I rewound that because they said burn as though she said something, and all he said, she didn't say anything. What?
And is in the White House. Of course he is.
Yet the president failed to condemn it. Why?
He also blamed people on both sides, which you blatantly ignore. I don't ignore it, buddy. In a rally where there are Nazis and non-Nazis, and the Nazis killed non-Nazis, to say that there are bad people on both sides and good people on both sides is the same thing. You fucking idiot. In fact, I'm banning you because you're incredibly stupid. To think that that was like a gotcha, to think that you fucking got me on that one. Hey, he didn't fail to condemn Nazis. He actually blamed Nazis and the anti-Nazis. Good job, bro. Big brain. Wow. I hadn't considered that. Can we focus?
The White House. Of course he is.
Yet the president failed to condemn it. Why? Because he can't. Because his own words and actions are racist too.
That Navarro is muy caliente. She has got some sass and dead Johnny Mathis.
Oh my god, they can't help it. They see a brown woman, a conservative brown woman, say something mildly antagonistic. Oh, cha-cha. Ooh, Latina muy caliente. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I cringe out of my fucking skull at these people.
Doesn't seem to understand that he did condemn it. And let me ask you this.
He didn't condemn it. Fine people on both sides, bad people on both sides.
Again, what is white supremacy? The problem here is that you hear these people mention it and they fail to define it.
You have not, in a single one of the video, you opened up saying like, hey, no one knows what this means, and then you provided a bunch of clips that had nothing to do with that assertion, and now you're repeating it. Why did you provide those clips? Do you not have an editor?
Because according to the media and the activist echo chamber, white supremacists includes everybody from, of course, President Donald Trump, but then there's this guy who's been accused of it, and if
Yeah, I'm going to be accusing you of that a lot in this video, buddy.
if you don't think that's enough, there's this guy who could forget.
Yeah, I would say that, actually. I would call Ben Shapiro a white supremacist. Is it supremacist? I always forget. Supremacist, I think.
If you're not, this guy, yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah! Is that a literal iron cross? Who is this guy? Chat, I'm racist. All black people look the same to me. Who is this fucking person? Right now. And yeah, black people can be white supremacists. Jesse Lee Peterson is a great fucking example of a black white supremacist. That's Ben Carson? Yeah, I think Ben Carson qualifies. That's an iron cross, right? I'm not lib cucking. Yeah. Wow, if you're gonna make the point that a person isn't racist, why would you show them with an iron cross? Did they show a photoshopped picture? It even looks a little bit photoshopped. It's too easy. I think this might, this looks photoshopped. Yeah. Okay. Why would they provide a picture? Oh my god, look, and he has a little fake SS tattoo here on the ball of his on his left thumb pad. See? Okay, it's a photoshopped picture. Why would they provide this picture? Is the point of the picture that people photoshopped him to make him look like a Nazi here? I don't care. This is stupid. Okay. All right, I was thinking, why, there's no reason for an American politician to wear an iron cross. I felt like I would have heard about that. But, all right, that's what I go. For being a meme. Yeah, I don't know why they would provide this unless they were too lazy to notice. Wait, if you type in Ben Carson, is that one of the first pictures that shows up? No, it's not. No, they had to go out of their way to find that picture. I don't know. I'm confused.
And then finally, by the time you get to this actual white supremacist, my point is the term is lost.
Remember.
And then finally, by the time you get to this
Remember, you can't be a white supremacist unless you have a literal swastika tattooed on your chest. This is how Nazis play defense for other Nazis.
Actual white supremacist, my point is the term has lost all meaning.
It really hasn't. All you've done is say that multiple people have had this term thrown at them. That doesn't mean the term has lost all meaning. You failed to provide a meaning. You failed to show how the meaning has been ignored or corrupted.
Yeah. By the time you get to him, it's like, yeah, but You said Dr. Ben Carson was a white supremacist.
Yeah, there's no way black people can be white supremacists, except for, again, Jesse Lee Peterson, great example, luminary of the black academic community, by the way, saying that white people are inherently moral, but black people have lost their way, that white people's souls are better than black people's souls. One guest he had on said, like, "You're not a Nazi, are you?" Ha ha ha. And Jesse Lee Peterson shrugged and he said, "I might be, you don't know." All the time he talks about how black people are worse than white people. You can be a white supremacist and be black. It's totally possible. Notice, by the way, the anti-IDPOL fucking right pulling out identity politics when it defends their interests.
I don't appreciate the generalization about I don't see myself as a white supremacist. I'll stab you in the belt buckle. The point...
What was that?
Ben Carson was a white supremacist.
Oh, it was a Ben Carson?
I don't appreciate the generalization about I don't see myself as a white supremacist. I'll stab you in the belt buckle. The point...
The right's getting better at comedy? The right's getting better at comedy and the left is getting scared?
Make this really clear, lest I come off as a hypocrite.
I think I need that. Hold on. I love how it's got its own fucking know your meme page. Get off my screen. I need this. The right is getting better at comedy and it's starting to make lefties nervous. I need this as like an emote or like a thing that I can flash on my screen every time there's a cringy joke. Like I press a button and it fills the screen for a second, you know? And then I turn it off and I go back to doing what I'm doing. I do need this, okay? This is actually, in fact, this is like maybe the next thing I implement into my stream.
Let me define this for you, because I'm going to challenge you to do so.
Okay, I already explained the definition, but okay.
The belief that anyone is inferior or entitled to fewer basic human rights solely based on race is evil.
Cool. I never have to explain these things while I'm doing videos because I don't play defense for nationalists or white nationalists or Nazis or white supremacists or whatever, but go on.
Okay? Whoever believes that, whoever subscribes to that worldview is a racial supremacist. Just as believing that anyone wealthier than you is entitled to fewer human rights, as
Jesus Christ, as if anyone fucking believes that.
Those in socialism do.
Hey, racism is bad, just like when socialists say rich people should be killed. He can't even do it. He can't just say, "Hey guys, racism is fucked up. Don't do it." He can't do it. They always conservatives have to do the fucking banter because they don't want to, because Steven Crowder knows a large part of his base is racist. He's racist, so of course. And he wants to keep with that, he doesn't want to alienate that audience.
Is evil. But none of this is exclusive to white people.
Yeah, I know. Black people can be white supremacists too.
And that's not what the left is using to define a white supremacist or even a racist. Let me run you through a few examples here. Okay?
Please tell me what the left think racism means.
Then you tell me what white supremacist means and who we ban. And I want to get to Twitter in a second.
Again, I don't choose who gets banned. The Twitter TOS chooses who gets banned. I don't know why conservatives drop all free market principles the moment it looks like this is literal fascism, guys. You collaborate with capital, you collaborate with business until a point at which the interests of profit, of capital no longer perfectly coincide with your own interests, which is to maintain racial and social hierarchy. So, at that point, the corporations no longer serve your interest, and you must co-opt them, consolidate their power into the government, so you can enact legislation through them that reinforces the existence of this hierarchy. This is literally the exact fucking way fascism happens. This is literally how it happens. This is it. Notice conservatives didn't have to do this back when businesses would discriminate against black and gay people. Just like that, just of their own volition, you know? But now that they're getting more open, now that businesses are getting a little bit less hierarchical in their policy, now that online fucking content providers have TOSs that explicitly forbid the kind of hierarchical behavior they're looking to consolidate into state power, the corporations are no longer necessary. They need to be co-opted into a public utility.
If I were to tell you that Asians, on average, tend to have high IQ...
Oh, no. Oh, God. Okay.
scores. Okay? Would that statement make me a racist, white supremacist, Asian?
It would depend on why you said the statement. If you want to make that statement and say, hey, it probably has something to do with the fact that a lot of people in America who are Asian or of Asian descent come from wealthy Southeast Asian families who had the money to afford the travel. And those families, because they were wealthy, had access to better education, both in China or Thailand or what have you, and here in America. If you want to say blank blank because of this, no, that's not racist. But if you want to say Asian people have higher IQ on average, I don't know, maybe some racial groups are just smarter than other groups, I don't know. Yeah, that is racist. Steven Crowder.
Asian supremacist? Honestly, think about it. Answer. Now, if I were to tell you that
This is not something you have to think about. This is a super easy fucking question.
black people, on average,
Ooh, he's got a play. I was like, ah. Hey, guys, watch this. I'll preempt the statement. Hey, black people on average have lower IQ in America. Just lower IQ. They're dumber. Black people on average in America, dumber than white people. Now, why is that? Well, it probably has a lot to do with the extreme socioeconomic deprivation the black community has seen, the fact that they haven't recovered, not even close to being recovered, from the hamstringing that slavery got them into, and there are a bunch of other socioeconomic conditions that play into their lower IQ. IQ is heavily correlated with income and education. It's super easy. I don't have to do, watch what I don't have to do. And technically, if you look at it really, I'm not racist, but technically, if you look at the data, black people do have lower IQs than white people. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. I'm free. Was the black community deprived of education in the U.S.? Good question. I don't know.
not all, are faster than most people in general. In part,
Oh, wait. What? What are we on now?
average, not all, are faster than most people in general.
Oh, he wasn't talking about black and white IQ. He was talking about speeds? Okay.
In part because they have more fast twitch muscle fibers.
Mm-hmm.
Is that racism?
No. It depends on why you're doing it.
Is that black supremacy? Is it white supremacy?
It's not. It's neither of those things. It depends. No fact is inherently bigoted. It is only the way in which you use those facts which can be bigoted.
Now, what if I were to make the statement that Eastern Europeans, on
How long is he going to do this?
average, not all, are physically stronger than, say, Asians? Look at that. Nary an English name or Asian name, aside from Brian Shaw and one Canadian. Is that white supremacy?
I've already gone over this.
Now, let me make you a little less comfortable here, but go with me in this experiment.
Jesus fucking Christ.
What if I were to say that white people, on average, have higher IQ scores than black people?
He brought it back! Steven Crowder, I knew you couldn't resist. You had already made your point. I promise you, Steven Crowder, nobody who watches your videos was made uncomfortable when they heard you say that. All the fucking little racist little itty-bitty dick boys fucking nutted a little bit in their pants. Ugh, like a bird taking a shit. When they splatter their bird shit still wet across the hood of your car, just that little smattering of white, very insubstantial but nonetheless irritating and smells bad. Right into their fucking pants. Nobody had a problem with that, trust me. And you know who else doesn't? I don't. I don't have a problem with facts. I don't have a problem with the black community being on average less intelligent than the white community in America. Not that IQ is a perfect indicator of intelligence, but it's still true.
On average. Is that white supremacy?
No.
Because guess what? I just said the exact same thing. I repeated myself. I was redundant, only I used different contrasting methods. So please, go ahead and tell me which statements are acceptable and which are not.
All of them are acceptable. I've made all of the... Well, I never made the statement that black people have more fast-twitch muscle fibers than non-black people, but I have read a study to that effect before. Again, this isn't... He's doing this rhetorical question shit, so all the fucking conservatives can circle jerk about how right they are. Like, literally no one disagrees with this right now. He's phrasing this out like, oh, you might get a little uncomfortable. Nobody is impressed with your fucking intellectual renegade routine, Steven Crowder.
Speaking of unacceptable, please bookmark this page if you're on YouTube.
Oh my god. Hey, if you're enjoying this stream right now, please, hey, send me super chats. I'm not joking. Unlike Steven Crowder, I'm not extremely independently wealthy, and I don't have the backing of mega corporations and think tanks that supply me money to feed propaganda to my idiot followers. I actually do this independently and will never, ever in my life see the support of a corporation. Probably. I don't think so. I can't imagine what corporation would want to associate with me. So yeah, give me money. Do it. Give me some fucking money. I know you want to. Every dollar you spend on me goes right to my rent or groceries. Also, I'm building a computer. Look, I got a 10 gigabit network adapter in the mail today. This bar says that it will go fast. Pretty cool, huh?
Because apparently subscriptions notification bell may not be working. Of course, the only way
And I'll read the super chats after the video.
you can support this content is if you join up at loudscatter.com/mugclub or subscribe on iTunes. Part of this is what's really important. Today's leftist playbook is calling everything a white supremacist dog whistle. And this can...
Mm-hmm. Like the clown world thing, even though it's very easy to prove that there is a huge correlation between usage of that meme and the fucking and being a Nazi, or the okay sign thing, which the Christchurch shooter flashed at the fucking camera when heading into court. So there's clearly an association there. I don't think the drinking milk thing ever took off. Listen, if you guys want us to stop, this is, again, and I've done this before, but for a super quick rundown, okay? The goal here is to make dog whistling too absurd to call out. So some Nazis on 4chan or 8chan will be like, we should make the okay sign a Nazi symbol. Use it if you're a Nazi, and then all the Nazis will start using it, and then they'll go out there and they'll LARP as non-Nazis and use it, and then somebody will be like, hey, I saw an article on this on from 4chan. Isn't that a white supremacist dog whistle? And they'll be like, hey, you fucking idiot, you think the okay sign is a Nazi? The fucking stupid idiot. Here's a picture of a black person you like having the okay sign back in 1998. You fucking idiot. Stupid fucking libtards. And then they do it, and they grow and they grow and grow. And now you have mass shooters flashing this at courtroom cameras to indicate their, allegiance to the white supremacist movement.
Go from simple phrases like
they exclude African migrants to the U.S. in those numbers and test blacks on English. Yeah. IQ tests are hella fucking racist. Also, to sort of kind of disprove this whole like black people dumb narrative, the people from the black people from Africa who come to the U.S. are very disproportionately educated, because only the very wealthy and educated people from Africa can make that trip to the U.S. and set up a new life. So it seems as though it's really an economic thing. It's not really a racial thing, because African immigrants to the U.S. are some of our most intelligent and educated citizens.
Choked, I'll show you that in a second, to using words like, we cherish our history. Here you go.
He is appealing to those voters, whether he's doing it deliberately or not. He's whistling at them and they're hearing it.
Romney choked like a dog. He choked. He went, I can't breathe.
Kind of funny.
I've seen people talk about people choking hundreds of times over the course of my life. They say that. They're not so committed to the metaphor that they then talk about not being able to breathe. I've never seen that happen.
What?
And in New York, where Eric Garner was...
This is so old. This is from like 3 years ago. Aren't we talking about white nationalism? There are tons of fucking white nationalist dog whistles we could be talking about. I don't give a fuck about this one.
Choked to death by the police and famously had the last words, I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
On Saturday, President Trump said that we must all, quote, cherish our history. Tom Perriello is a former Democratic congressman from Charlottesville. He heard that as a dog whistle.
So you believe...
Yeah, I mean, I consider that a fucking dog whistle. When a lot of like identity Europa types, when they say cherish our history, they mean cherish white history. The glorious Aryan bloodline going back unto our progenitors, the 19-foot-tall Vikings who strode the land, their thunderous blonde-pubed cocks swinging in the Norse winds or some shit like that. Yeah, it can be a dog whistle. Now, if I say we should cherish our history, it doesn't really come off that dog whistly because everyone knows I'm not a Nazi. But as we all know, Trump is Hitler. So, a different connotation. Seriously, though, the person who's making the statement does play out a lot into whether or not it should be read as a dog whistle.
Let me get this straight. Okay. Young Turks Buzzcut. You believe that dog...
Isn't this literally a 3-year-old video? He's literally doing this to a 3-year-old video? The Eric Garner thing? Okay.
Donald Trump is possibly the stupidest president ever, but he had the forethought. He was playing not only 4D chess, he was playing 18D chess. Or when he was talking about when he was talking about Mitt Romney choking like a dog, he was secretly thinking about Eric Garner because he was trying to mobilize all the neo-Nazis in the Northeast.
You have very low standards for intelligent, fucking Crowder. I don't think he was doing that necessarily. I don't care either. But that's not really that hard to do. It's literally, I will talk about Mitt Romney and I will describe him in a way which makes a reference to a very famous case of police abuse. Wow, 18D chess really goes to show just how deep how fucking wrinkled these conservative brains are, that they consider that to be an extraordinary stretch of the mind. How could any human brain keep that many balls in the air at once? And it's a single ball. It's a single ball. Do I have a ball? I have mints. This is it. This is a visual representation of what Steven Crowder believes Trump couldn't possibly have done.
That's an episode of West Wing I'd love to see Sorkin write. What?
Jesus, he's gonna go on? Really? Steven Crowder, the comedian, please explain to me more how this was like an unfathomably intelligent hypothetical move that only like a fucking Megamind tier alien could have possibly devised.
He's clearly trying to reach the 5 borough racist voters he's referencing Eric Garner. He choked like...
Wait, the 5 borough racist voters? I just spilled a little bit of water by slamming the thingy.
Episode of West Wing I'd love to see Sorkin write. What? He's clearly trying to reach the 5 borough racist voters
Well, I don't know what he means by borough here. Is that a reference to the area the Eric Garner incident took place in? But the suggestion that there are only like 5 racist voters out there is pretty funny. Kind of makes it sound like you're downplaying the existence of white supremacy and racism in America. Steven Crowder, I know you're not doing that. You wouldn't do that, would you? It does kind of look like you're doing that, though. Sounds like borough. New York City has 5 boroughs? Oh, okay. I don't particularly care.
He's referencing Eric Garner. He choked like a dog. Oh.
That was a pretty good Trump impression. I wish I could do that. He choked like a dog. No, I can't do it. I literally can't do a Trump voice. I'm not capable of it. My vocal cords don't do that.
Oh, yeah. Genius. And we can't say cherish our history?
Well, it really depends on the context in which you say it. Like, a little fucking Latino kid living in Texas can be like, we cherish our history, when talking about like how the Mexicans used to be in Texas. But if a white nationalist is saying we cherish our history, they're talking about a different fucking thing with different connotations. Is Steven Crowder literally making the why can we have black pride and gay pride, but white pride is racist? I think that's about the tier of argumentation we're on right now. Can we move on?
By the way, those are isolated incidents, okay? But it's gotten even more sinister. We've talked about the left wanting to control language.
Okay. So the left wanting to control language. And from this, we have somebody accusing Trump of making, like, a speech that sounded like an alt-right manifesto. Oh, and this is the same thing. The Warsaw speech, I assume Poland, Warsaw. Shortly thereafter, fast-talking far-right pundit Ben Shapiro called Notre Dame a monument to Western civilization, Judeo-Christian here. What does any of this have to do with the left shutting down language? Not a single one of these 3 articles have anything to do with the left shutting down language.
Left wants to use long-standing, clearly defined words like Western civilization.
Western civilization as a term? Let's find out how long that term dates back, because historians and anthropologists and political scientists agree that it means nothing. Guys, do you think Western civilization means anything? It doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. It literally means fucking nothing. And everyone has a different definition. Got Western culture. Originated in or are associated with Europe. Okay, so does that include the western portion of Russia? Does that include Turkey, which is arguably, almost certainly, in fact, in a part of Europe? Does that include those swarthy Greeks? In reality, what people consider to be Western civilization is a product almost exclusively of their biases at the time. Because back in ye old medieval ages, my friend, people didn't give a fuck about the West. The West didn't even mean anything back then because it was defined in opposition to the Orient, but that wasn't even a fucking thing back then. The only thing that people cared about was their king, their monarchy. They were feudal societies. The idea of a nation state didn't even exist yet. There were no 1400s English peasants who thought like, ah, yes, I am part of the great Western civilization, which dates back to the Athenian philosophers. Nobody thought that way. It was only after the Enlightenment, only after the 1700s, that people started to think that there was an intellectual tradition being carried forward from the ancient Greeks, but even then, that didn't carry through the Holy Roman Empire. That didn't carry through the German barbarian tribes. What is and is not Western civilization has, broadly speaking, always meant, hey, what do I consider white culture to be at the time? What can I claim white people have done? And back in the day, it didn't include Spanish people, it didn't include Germans, it didn't include the Irish, it didn't include the fucking Welsh, it didn't include the Scottish. Back then, white people were Anglo-Saxons. British people. That's it. That was white people. And everyone else was and French people. And everyone else was swarthy as fuck. These terms change. So yes, Western civilization and white culture are either dog whistles or used by people who don't know they're dog whistles, which is the point of a dog whistle. You're not supposed to know if it's a racist iteration or not. Oh, hey, shoe on head. Reminder, Crowder allegedly told Blair White, allegedly, he doesn't actually believe the shit he says about trans people, allegedly, and feels bad about it. Allegedly. Ooh, you hate to see it happen. It's almost like Steven Crowder is completely in the pocket of the fucking billionaires whose values he represents, and he is nothing but a hollow mouthpiece through which they can expel their propaganda. It doesn't really matter whether or not Steven Crowder believes these things, of course, because the millions of people who watch his videos do.
They want to include that among the secret dog whistle list.
It's not secret. If you guys, by the way, if reactionaries weren't so dishonest about dog whistles, I would be willing to speak with them to like parse out what we believe a dog whistle is. But when they refuse to believe that like Clown World is a Nazi dog whistle, then there's no point. There's no point in arguing with them on this. Oh no, not another fucking F. It's back. You fucking babies. That wasn't a real F. That was a little hiccup. All right, let's keep it going.
Now, it may or may not be true that some white supremacists are doing that.
Maybe white supremacists use dog. Well, we don't really know, but maybe.
Are we supposed to lose our right to our opinions completely founded on principles and deductive...
Wait, what did he say?
Are we supposed to lose our right to our opinions completely founded on principles...
What? Or we should post to lose our right?
Are doing that. Are we supposed to lose our right?
Are we supposed to lose our right? Okay. Are we supposed to lose our right?
To our opinions completely founded on principles and deductive reasoning for fear of some white supremacists somewhere using some of this terminology, which will ultimately to make a point that I don't even agree with, when I'm using the term Western civilization to make a point that a white supremacist would never agree with as well.
What the fuck is he talking about? Is he saying that there's some factual empirical basis for the term Western civilization? I thought for a second he was talking about the IQ rates thing, in which I could say, yes, I do say that black people have lower IQ on average than white people in America. However, I don't use this for a racist agenda, and I explain the socioeconomic causes which lead into it. But everything, Steven Crowder, that you say, which might be interpreted as a not a Western dog whistle, as a Nazi dog whistle, does in fact serve the interest of Nazis. You talk about how you fucking hate socialists, trans people, how conditions for black people in America are not that bad, not that fucking big of an issue, that that male privilege is a myth, there's no such thing as the patriarchy, that class inequality is nowhere near as bad as people seem to think it is, that socialism is going to destroy America, that Muslims are going to come in and ruin America, that the entire world is collaborating to take down conservatives and deny them free speech. You kind of play into every single fucking narrative Nazis like to push. So yeah.
The left is trying to cut people like you and I off at the pass simply because we believe Western civilization is the best in the world.
I mean, yes. Yeah, I do disagree with that. There's no such thing as Western civilization. When people say Western civilization, they mean what I think white people are at this moment in time.
And I do believe that. I think a lot of you believe that. That doesn't make anybody a white supremacist. Certainly not worthy of banning or deplatforming.
That's up to their TOS. Also, hey, I like how he kind of moved away from the goalpost here. He's talking now about using the term Western civilization. Has Twitter ever banned anyone for using the term Western civilization? Let's all put on our thinking hats today, shall we? Can we think of a single far-right figure getting banned off of Twitter or Facebook or YouTube for using the term Western civilization? Man, if it's such a minefield out there, Steven Crowder, kind of weird you're using that term in your YouTube channel. You don't want to get demonetized, do you?
But let's follow the logic trail here. Let me try to use a couple of examples. Again, I really want liberals watching, leftists out there, to give me
Liberals and leftists aren't the same thing. I know you don't care, but they're not.
a definition here. White supremacist and what warrants being banned.
What warrants being banned is if you don't follow the fucking Twitter TOS, buddy. Again, I'm a fucking anarchist, and even I believe that as long as you live in a capitalist society, social media platforms should be able to set their own rules as to what constitutes fair and prohibitive behavior.
Is believing that the United States, is believing that America is superior to Mexico, white supremacy.
Not necessarily. America is economically superior to Mexico. We've got a better civil society. Now, if you believe that America is better than Mexico because of the swarthy little fucking Pedros who can't even manage their own fucking country swimming up across the border to take over ours, yeah, it's a little bit racist. And when you make the statement, America is better than Mexico, the audience does not know whether you're saying that America is better in like a civic, socioeconomic way, or if you're saying America is better because white people versus brown people. You don't have to clarify that statement, my friend, because the Nazis will hear what they want to hear, and they will find support in what you say.
Now, what if I believe that the Mexican-American business owner is superior?
What's the difference between leftists and liberals? Leftists are anti-capitalist. Liberals are capitalist, but they tend to be, well, if you use liberal in the classical sense, somebody who subscribes to the principles of liberalism, like democracy and capitalism and free trade and stuff. But a liberal in the American sense is just somebody who tends to be a little bit more progressive, but is still a capitalist.
To the white guy working with the Mexican cartel.
What were you saying?
By the way, there are white people in Mexico. Have you seen the soap operas?
Wait, okay, hold on. What are you talking about?
There are white people. Now, what if I believe that the Mexican-American business owner is superior to the white guy working with the Mexican cartel?
What the fuck are you talking about? What if I believe if the Mexican-American business owner is superior to the white guy working in what argument is this? What argument is being made? What point are you making? I'm legitimately curious. I don't know. Have I been 10D chessed by Steven Crowder? Has his brain encompassed mine at last? Is this it? Is this defeat? Because I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
By the way, there are white people in Mexico. Have you seen the soap operas?
Okay.
Or Jesse Ventura lately. He lives there.
I have no communications to the United States other than doing my Off the Grid show, which we do from various locations so that the
what are we talking
drones
about?
won't find me and kill me.
What are we talking about right now?
This man is not covered under free trade. You take it back. You take him back.
What? I'm so confused about what the last 60 seconds have been. Am I getting like hardcore memed on right now? Are these dog whistles? Are they slipping past me? I genuinely don't know what the fuck is going on.
Didn't want to be in the States because of fluoride in your tap. Of course, the parasites were a trade-off I didn't see coming. I should have asked more questions.
All right.
He loves his impressions.
If I say...
Would this argument be a red herring? I'm confused. I don't know. I feel like Steven Crowder is on the fly inventing a new rhetorical technique. Is this argumento ad absurdum? Is he making this video so absurd that I can't even criticize it? I think he might be doing that.
That North America is superior to Africa. Is that white supremacy?
Depends on why you think North America is superior to Africa. Because I believe it is, mostly because North America has had the benefit of a whole history of flourishing fucking economic and social development, and Africa has been a victim of imperialism and colonization for centuries. But yeah, no, I mean, it really depends on why you believe that. Because there are people out there who think that America is better than Africa because black people can't build their own civilizations. White people just have a better propensity towards building stable civilizations. What are you gonna do? Mad about slavery, black libtard? Think about it. Would you rather be here being a rapper or a Flava Flav or pimping rides? Or would you rather be in Africa, living in a mud hut, eating dirt cookies, and having malaria? You're welcome, slaves. You're welcome. I've argued with people who unironically believe this, okay? Literally on this channel. It's uploaded somewhere. I've argued with people who believe this.
Now, what if I say that the Kenyan-Canadian immigrant who's become a civil engineer is superior to the white South African pimp?
What is he? I genuinely don't understand what he's saying. What if a black person in America is better than a white? Nobody says this is white supremacy. Nobody makes these arguments. There's not a single fucking lib left in the world who would hear somebody say, oh, well, I think this African immigrant businessman is better than the white pimp in Africa. Nobody would hear you say that and say, are you a fucking white supremacist? They might actually look at you and say, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not hard to make cogent arguments, dipshit.
Let me be clear here. I don't believe the white race or white people are superior by... I don't believe that any person of any race is superior by birthright in any shape or form due to their race.
You wouldn't have to fucking shuffle around this, buddy, if you were me. If you were not a racist, you could just say, like, obviously racism is fucked. It's super easy, if you're not a racist, to not look racist.
And look, I'll be honest here. Unlike a lot of ethnic minorities, this is if people want to talk about checking privilege, that's never going to happen. But if you want to talk about recognizing some things about yourself because you're white that may result in a different experience, sure. Unlike a lot of ethnic minorities, I've never particularly seen my race as a huge part of who I am. Why?
That's privilege.
Because they're all different kinds of white people. We're not one monolithic clan.
Hey! He's finally making an argument that I agree with that some Nazis might actually disagree with. It's true. There is no such thing as white people. Whiteness is a social construct designed to exclude non-white people. We bring new fucking white people into the fold all the time. 100 years from now, a fucking African is going to be white. A black African, okay? We're going to call him white. No one will understand what it means anymore. Little children will play stickball in the fields, and they'll say, ha, person whose skin is the color of charcoal, you're white. And then the other person will, the black person will say, I know! Why do we say this to each other? And neither of them will know. Whiteness means nothing. What do you mean, like Polish? Do you mean like English or Spanish? Do you mean Irish? What the fuck do you mean? Greek? Like Italian? Nobody fucking knows. I have nothing, by the way, against. Well, I'm not a nationalist, so I do have something against this. But, like, in a broad, like, way, I don't really have a problem with Irish pride, or Polish pride, or Spanish pride, or fucking Lithuanian pride, or English pride. I have no problem with any of these things. The reason why none of those individual ethnic constituencies turned into a hate movement, but white pride did, is because whiteness is an illusion. It doesn't exist, friends. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. As a construct, as a category, it is designed specifically to exclude. What?
There is somebody in chat.
I'm definitely on a roll. What?
Should I just ban them, or do you want to try to like yell at them?
Well, who? Well, who?
Mild wild.
Mild.
They just keep being like, you're hysterical, you're losing, like just like stupid.
Mild Wild. Hey, Mild Wild, after I'm done with this video, do you want to come on and...
I want to ban them. So.
Hold on. After I'm done with this video, do you want to come into my Discord and debate me? Show this triggered fucking lip cuck your superior rhetorical style. And if you say no, I'll ban you. In fact, if you say anything other than yes, I'll ban you. All right, let's keep going. Ban them if they don't say yes.
And they're Irish, Italian, Russian, French, Scottish, Eastern European. But I do identify with the ideals of the United States, and yes, by proxy, Western civilization. The same Western...
Okay. Well, he had me going for a minute there. He had me going for a minute. Like, hey, there's no such real thing as like a white identity. We got Irish people and Italian people, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes right back to it.
Ideals that all of those aforementioned people risked life and limb to try and seek. The ideas of
what?
People, proxy, Western civilization.
Okay,
They do identify with the ideals of the United States, and yes,
okay, fine.
by proxy, Western civilization.
Western civil. This is what I feel like he's so close. He just made the argument that whiteness as a thing doesn't really matter, and that you just have like Italians and Greeks or whatever. But then he goes on to make the exact same argument for Western culture. There is no Western culture. There's just the constituent nations. What does the West mean? What does whiteness mean? It's the same thing. He literally just said, oh God, I'm gonna nut. I'm gonna come. Oh God. I'm gonna come. He literally just said that, hey, we've got Irish people and Italian people, and we've got Germans, and we've got Lithuanians, and we've got the Swedes, and the Nords, and the English, and the Welsh, and they all have their individual identities. And then people try and paint this all together as white, and that's kind of weird because they don't all kind of like why? Like why would we do that? We don't really do that. But then he goes on to say that you have all these different countries that are very different and distinct with different histories, and then he's like, yeah, Western civilization, let's go. Yeah. He does the same thing.
The same Western ideals that all of those aforementioned people risked life and limb to try and seek.
Wait, what? Who risked life and limb?
That all of those aforementioned people risked life and limb to try and seek.
What the fuck is he talking about? All the Irish and Italians risked life and limb to become Western culture? What the fuck does he mean by that?
The ideas of free speech, religious freedom, freedom from government tyranny, all of which, by the way, they created a uniquely rich American experiment. Here's the
Yeah, I agree. The Enlightenment was cool.
issue. Unlike back then, we have a lot of people now, not all, but some people now who want to come to this country not to take part in that great experiment. We have some people...
Okay, here we go. Now we get back right to the dog whistling. Oh yeah, so American exceptionalism, we made a great society, da-di-da-di-da. Some people want to take that away from us.
Who come now, not all, not seeking freedom, not in a boat seeking freedom, hopping across a moat, or overstaying a work visa to benefit from a welfare state, only to subsequently...
For one, we don't have a welfare state. For two, undocumented immigrants are also taxed. In fact, it is generally agreed upon that undocumented immigrants have a net positive effect on the economy.
By the way, vote against the values and freedoms that made this country so desirable in the first place.
And we go right back to the white nationalist dog whistling. So now he talks about how America is the great experiment, but fucking brown people are coming in and they're seeking to destroy it from within. This is it. This is the dog whistling to which we refer. What do you mean by that? Who wants to destroy freedom? What the fuck are you talking about? I guarantee you that the worst anti-liberal values, and by liberal I mean liberalism, like the Enlightenment, the worst anti-liberal values that get brought across by like Muslim extremists are already held by a vast majority of the American Christian fundamentalists that already exist here. This suggestion, like, oh yeah, white nationalist, Western civilization isn't a dog whistle. By the way, there are people coming to destroy this civilization from within, and they're brown.
I think that's just wrong.
Like what? I need a specific example, because economists agree, by the way. Again, undocumented immigrants have a net positive effect on the economy. So in what way are they destroying it? What do you mean they're voting on... I'm sorry, was there an anti-freedom referendum that was recently fucking posted on whitehouse.gov that all the fucking Muslims and undocumented immigrants are voting yes on? Ah, yes, I vote to end freedom, and then that would be that for America. Can I get an example of this in effect, please?
Just as I think, by the way, it's wrong for people to steal the place of anyone who legally waited in the queue to take part in this great American experiment, black, white, brown, yellow alike. It doesn't...
What? There's a line to take part in America? What is he just talking about? He was just now he's just talking about immigration. He just thinks it's wrong to cut the line. America has one of the most fucking difficult and rigorous and highly scrutinized immigration processes of any country on earth. Maybe we need to loosen that system up a little bit. Whether you like it or not, Steven Crowder, illegal immigration is a thing that is going to happen and is going to continue happening. The fact that it happens is not an indication of criminality. It is an indication of agitation. A disillusion between what people want and what people can have. The intelligent person looks at this antagonism and thinks, what are the best ways I can resolve this antagonism in a way which benefits society? The idiot, like you, looks at this antagonism and goes, they're coming in to ruin our freedom! Guys, they cut in line. They can't do that.
Doesn't matter. Does that make me a white supremacist?
Nah, yeah, the shit you just said was pretty white supremacist dog whistling.
Should Jack Dorsey ban me? See, to me...
Who's Jack Dorsey? Jack Dorsey. CEO of Twitter. Yeah, I'd be cool with him banning you. I think you meet the qualifications for somebody who spreads hate. But yeah. I mean, that's up to him, right?
Racism and socialism, and they're saying white supremacy now.
Racism and socialism? What?
To me, racism and socialism, and they're saying white supremacy now. They sort of are tossing all racism under this umbrella, so we can even use that. But white supremacy is the word of the day, right?
What? Why do you throw socialism in there? Does he know what words mean?
Right now, when people, you get a hashtag.
I have seen the Dorsey vision. No, never mind. We'll get into that later.
Going like trained seals. That's white supremacy. Racism, socialism, any form of economic classism, they're evil and corrosive to the human spirit.
Excuse me?
Racism.
Please say that again.
When people, you get a hashtag going like trained seals. That's white supremacy. Racism, socialism.
Racism and socialism. It was so stupid. I had to hear it twice. He can't. His corporate masters shoved their big, meaty, hairy fucking pig hands right up his rectum and are puppeting him from the inside. He can't do it. He can't even say racism is bad. He has to say racism and socialism are bad.
Any form of economic classism.
Any form of economic classism. What the fuck do you think capitalism is? Capitalism is literally based on class hierarchy. Socialism seeks to ameliorate that. He thinks, in Steven Crowder's mind, socialism is hating rich people the same way racism is hating non-white people.
Evil and corrosive to the human spirit for the same reason to me. In that they are worldviews that identify you by what you have rather than what you do. And by
what? Even if we follow your dumb fuck definition here, racism is something you do. Classism is something if you're rich and you engage in the behaviors that make you rich, is also something you do. So hating a person for their race, if you hate a person for their race, you're hating them for an intrinsic characteristic. If you hate a person because they're a fucking leech that seeps billions of dollars from the economy and hoards it in offshore accounts to keep it from circulating so they can sit in their big boy fucking Cayman Island trust fund, that's something they chose to do. Even using his own unfathomably stupid definition, he's still wrong. Because hating a person for their race is something intrinsic, and hating somebody for their economic decision is not intrinsic.
By proxy, these ideologies rob you of who you are. You have black skin. You have white skin. You have a vagina. You have more money than me. Rather than looking at someone and saying, oh, you studied hard in school.
Oh, yeah, you studied to become black. Oh, yeah, in the womb. Good job, white. What is he saying? What is he saying? We can't see different people having things. We have to see they studied for things? What is he saying? What is he saying? I don't know what the fuck he's saying. I'm actually fucking lost. Can we go back?
You have white skin. You have a vagina. You have more money than me.
You were born with white skin or black skin or a vagina. Those are things you were born with. Having money is the product of economic decisions that you have made. You can get rid of that money. You can invest it. You can give it to charity. There are things that you can do to make yourself less of a leech on the fucking economy. And even now, I'm playing into his stupid definition because I don't fucking hate rich people the same way racists hate black people. I don't. I seriously don't. I think they're a leech in the economy in the same way that I think cops are a detriment to society, in the same way that I think politicians or the military are, but I don't hate them the same way a racist hates a black person, because a racist thinks that a black person is fundamentally incompatible, that they are not equal and they can never be equal. On some metaphysical, spiritual level, a person of color is worse than a white person. But I don't believe that. If you're a cop, hang up your hat. If you're a politician, fucking join up with my side. If you're a soldier, set down your gun. If you're wealthy, act in ways that don't fuck over poor people in the economy. You can't set down your black skin. Even in his own stupid fucking definition, Steven Crowder is wrong. He's so dumb, he can't even construct a false dichotomy that doesn't make him look stupid.
Rather than looking at someone and saying, oh, you studied hard in school.
Also, yeah, the implication, by the way, that rich people, when so many fucking rich people literally just got money handed to them by mommy and daddy. Yes, all rich people just studied very hard in school, and all poor people are just stupid and lazy. We know. We know, Steven Crowder.
You worked your way into a good college. Yeah. You created a business that now allows you to employ 5,000 people. You treat your family well. You stayed with your wife and kids.
What are you talking about now?
You are an honest person. You are a good man.
What is he talking about? None of this has anything to do... What? So we should commend black people for studying to be black? This analogy makes no sense. He just sort of trailed off and started talking about socialism, and now he's like... Is he like praising himself for not cheating on his wife? I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm so confused. I'm so fucking confused.
And my challenge to you is this. I don't want to get high and mighty here, but when you see these trends circulating, it gets my antenna up. My challenge to you is this. If we're going to talk about banning people, okay?
Well, nobody's talking about banning people. Just don't violate the terms of service of the private social media companies you choose to use the platforms of.
If we're actually inciting physical violence predicated on a hateful worldview, fine.
Literally nobody is talking about inciting physical violence. You started with talking about people being banned from Twitter. Are we talking about physical violence now? Because that's a whole other thing. I know that to you can just conflate all these things and they're all the same because you're very smooth up here. But they're not all the same. My man, Steven Crowder, they're not all the same.
I get it. And if I ran a social media platform, probably wouldn't want people converting violent Nazis on there either.
I sincerely doubt that. Why is it that all fucking alt-right figures like you, and I do consider you part of the alt-right, why is it that when all of you get banned off your constituent platforms, you go over to like Minds.com or Gab or whatever fuck other Nazi version of the commonly used social media site? It does seem like you'd rather partner up with Nazis than you just accept the fact that you're too hateful to exist in the currently socially acceptable like sphere of public media, of public influence.
Understood. But if we are going to start banning and censoring people just because you throw an umbrella term out there...
We're not. Again, it's TOS. It's just terms of service, dude.
It is very important for you to define exactly what it is with tremendous specificity.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let's do it. Twitter TOS. Twitter terms of service. Oh, boy. Okay. Let's see. No racism or racist. Racial? Maybe hate? Wow. You know, I've never actually read the Twitter TOS before. Okay. So it looks like in their official terms of service, they don't actually have any like explicit description of what types of behavior net you a suspension. If this is the case, I actually think Twitter should add this. Now, mind you, I don't agree with Steven Crowder's self-victimization narrative that this is part of some grand conspiracy to invent terms that they can broadly apply to all conservatives. Again, it's not my fault all conservatives are Nazis, every last one of them, down to the little fucking conservative babies. But I would love it if Twitter can add a terms of service clearly outlining their position on these particular issues, so it would be easy for me to directly refer to them. Is that really the extent of what Steven Crowder is asking for, though? Because I see some people in chat right now who are like, ha, got him, Steven Crowder wins again. The problem is, if Steven Crowder had simply made a video where he had said, hey, Twitter, you should probably outline more clearly what exactly constitutes a violation of your terms of service, because I feel as though you're using certain terms broadly to apply specifically to conservatives, I would not have disagreed with that statement. Instead, he went on a fucking 13-minute rant on a whole bunch of shit that was wrong. All right, let's finish this video up.
Now, I already have. I put my money where my mouth is. So Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg, Susan Wojcicki, and to all those who petition these people to ban you.
They make the argument that misgendering someone on purpose on Twitter is political and against their freedom of speech. Yeah, I've seen all their fucking dumb fuck arguments. How misgendering people deliberately, how forcing people to not misgender people deliberately is cucked SJW libtard censorship because the existence of trans people is more political than the decision to deliberately misgender. Yeah, I'm familiar with all their fucking dumb fuck arguments.
Users, you tell me, what exactly is white supremacy? Who exactly is a white supremacist and who should be banned?
Whatever Twitter says. Twitter determines who gets banned.
I want specifics. Let me see your comments. Hey there.
YouTube comments. YouTube comments probably is where Steven Crowder gets his socio-political opinions from. Yep, here we go. I'm a proud black man, said the black man. I'm a proud Hispanic man, blah, 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 blah. I'm a proud white man, said the racist. Yep. About the level of intellectual Wait, click the Twitter rules? Hold on. What rules? Does it say rules? Oh, Twitter rules. Oh, look at that. More things to look at. Oh! I'm sorry, that was very loud. Hey, everyone who just said, got him, Steven Crowder's got him, Twitter. Hey, what about this? Let's take a look over it, huh? Abuse and hateful conduct. You may not engage in the targeted harassment or incite others to do so. You may not use hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. Read more about it on our hateful conduct policy. Nice, delightful. Hateful imagery or display names. You may not use hateful images or symbols in your profile image or profile header. May not use your username, display name, profile, engage in abusive behavior, targeted harassment, expressing hate towards a person, group, or protected category. The problem is you can break this down into an infinite level of regression, because you could have the swastika as your profile and then you'd get banned for saying that it's expressing hate towards a person, group, or protected category, and you'd say, dude, I just had it as an avatar ironically, it's not expressing hate, it's just a joke. Or, dude, don't you know the swastika was a Buddhist symbol of peace? Like, I can't believe you're banning me over this. Or you can even go like, dude, me just having it there as a Nazi isn't an expression of hate, it's just there. Okay? I'm not doing anything with it. It's not hurting anyone. There is an infinitely fractal level of regressive argumentation that Nazis can use to dishonestly say how the shit they're doing isn't against TOS. Okay?